I just got a special delivery from China via Sonny Dixon, and inside there should be, fingers crossed, some iPhone 16 case models. Some newer case models actually compared to the ones that I already covered before, with the exact same colors as the launch models of the iPhone 16. You know, it's legit because it's got this green duct tape on the side. Right, so let me just open up the box, and hopefully inside there are some actual iPhone 16 case models. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The exact same number as, well, the number of colors in the iPhone 16 lineup. Right, so let's start with this one. Oh, this is the new blue. I'll take a look at that in a second. Then we've got, what's this? Looks like the pink. Okay. Then we've got, oh wow, okay, this looks gorgeous. This is the new green. Then we have two more colors, which are fairly easy to predict, right? This is the brand new silver. And lastly, we have black. By the way, it's quite funny how they mask the Apple logo, because when they ship these over the border, if they get inspected, obviously, if they show up with an Apple logo, they will get confiscated as fake products. So there you go. This is one of the very first iPhone 16 case models that are supposedly accurate when it comes to their color. Okay, so I've unboxed all of them, and here are all the colors side by side. So the iPhone 15s are on the top, and we've got the black, we've got the green, yellow, pink, and blue. Yes, this is a blue. And then with the iPhone 16s, we've got also a black, green. This is a silver, so we no longer have a yellow. Then we've also got a pink, and then we've got an actual blue. Now, I should also mention that all of these iPhone 16 colors have been leaked by Minchiko before, and his leak does actually match with the dummy units that we've got right here. Now, if we take a look at the colors side by side, you can probably see that the iPhone 16 here on the left, the black version, is quite a bit darker than the iPhone 15. Now, I should mention that these are all made out of plastic, as opposed to, of course, the actual iPhone 15s, which are made out of glass, frosted glass on the back. So once the iPhone 16s actually get released, the shade may change a tiny bit, because of course frosted glass does reflect light differently when compared to plastic. Although these should still be quite close, which means that there is still a chance that the iPhone 16s, the black version, will be darker than the black iPhone 15, which I would definitely love to see. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you take a look at their frames, you'll see that the iPhone 16 here on the left is also quite a bit darker than the iPhone 15. Taking a look at the new green, you'll see that the shade is just completely different. It's more of a teal, which I know Dave Today will absolutely love.
Teal.
And obviously it's just significantly more vibrant and darker than the green that we had on the iPhone 15, which I really, really love. Now, if we take a look at the frames, again, you'll see that the iPhone 16 has a more bluish tint as opposed to the more pastel green that we had on the 15. Okay, now, like I said, the yellow is gone, and instead we get this brand new silver, which I think is a good move. Like Apple, for some reason, they did not have a silver option with the iPhone 15, but there you go. This old yellow used to be very pastel, so personally, I was just not a fan of this. But yeah, now it's completely gone. Okay, then we've got the pink, which is actually quite similar. I would say out of all the colors, this is probably the most similar to the iPhone 15. Of course, 16 being on the left. It is a bit darker and a bit less vibrant, you could say, this time. So personally, I do prefer the pink on the iPhone 15 right here. Here we go. This is the frame and how it differs. But yeah, if you have a specific preference, let me know in the comments which one of the two pinks you prefer. And finally, we got the blue, which is a huge difference compared to last year. So yes, this was the blue that we had before, and yes, it does look like silver. In fact, if I bring in the actual silver, you'll see that the blue iPhone 15 is actually extremely similar to the silver iPhone 16. Like, this blue got so much hate when it launched because, yeah, it just looks like silver. But now, with the iPhone 16s, we get an actual blue color, which just looks gorgeous. I would say out of all the colors, I think this is probably my favorite. Aside from black, of course. And once again, here are all the colors side by side. In terms of my thoughts overall on them, I do love seeing the more vibrant colors. The iPhone 15s were quite weird. They were very pastel. The black was just gorgeous, and the green as well. But aside from that, everything was just way too pastel. Now, the iPhone 14s were more vibrant than the 15s by quite a lot. I would say now these colors are even more vibrant, especially when it comes to the blue and the green as well. Like the blue with the iPhone 14, it wasn't as vibrant as the blue that we've got now with the 16. I'm quite surprised that there is no product red color anymore. So the last time we had it on an iPhone was with the iPhone 14. They did not have it on the 15s, and it seems like they're not going to have it with the iPhone 16s either. So what does this mean for the product red brand? Has the product red been discontinued? Well, probably not, because Apple still sells the Apple Watch Series 9 in product red. Same goes for the red sport band, although that's basically it. So personally, I don't think it's gonna be gone. Of course, red is a very popular color, so I think it will likely be coming back. My guess is that in spring we'll have a spring edition, like special edition iPhone 16, and that's when they'll reintroduce the red color, basically like what they've done in the past with some spring color releases. Okay, so what about the Pro models? Well, I don't actually have the Pro models right here, aside from this single one in silver, so silver is coming, but they have been leaked. And there we go, these are supposedly the colors of the iPhone 16 Pros. We've got the white, black, then titanium gray, which is a darker version than a titanium gray that we have right now, very likely matching the iPhone 16 space gray if we go by the older leaks. And then we've also got this brown. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this brown myself. Like, I much prefer the old gold, you know, the one that Apple used to have on the iPhone XS. That just looked amazing. Like, I know some people do love this brown. I personally don't, it's just not my style. Although it does give me these fancy leather sofa vibes or fancy business class airline seat. Oh, and speaking of airline seats, as you might know, this year I've been traveling a lot. And having data on the go has been essential for doing literally anything. Making videos, browsing the web, exploring, you name it. That's why North Security's latest service, Saily, is awesome for making sure you have an internet connection anywhere you go. Their affordable eSIM plans are available in 150 countries. And what's great is that you never need to reinstall the eSIM for different plans, as the app does everything for you. As well as this, you don't need to worry about roaming, scams, or even waiting in line to get a local SIM. If you've got a big trip planned and you want to stay connected at low prices, scan the QR code here and download Saily. The first 1,000 people to select the 1 GB plan for your preferred destination and use the code ZONEofTECH at checkout will get that plan for free. Now, some of you guys may remember that a while ago, I also covered some iPhone 16 dummy units. Now, those were the original dummy units, right? And this is a newer version. So I was actually curious to see how this newer version compares to the original dummy units from the previous video. And here we go. This is the pink on both models. So the one on the left, this is the newer version, and the one on the right, this is the older version. And the closer we get to the actual release, the more these models will begin to resemble the iPhone 16s. Now, dimension-wise, they are exactly the same. However, if you take a look at the camera modules, the rings are quite a bit bigger on the older units, which in our previous video, this made me speculate that, okay, maybe we're getting that larger 48 megapixel sensor that we've got in the iPhone 14 Pros and the iPhone 15 Pros. However, if I bring the iPhone 14 here, you'll see that the camera modules are very similar between the two and definitely smaller than the original dummy units, which essentially means that no, we are not getting any new camera modules or sensors, very likely on the iPhone 16, especially when you consider that we've had 0 leaks on the sensors on the 16s actually changing, aside from, of course, the Pro models, which are getting some bigger changes. Another difference between the old case model and the new one is the flash. If you take a look at the flash, it is quite a bit smaller now and also redesigned. And then the last difference is when it comes to the frame. Of course, since these models are more finalized, we have a frame that matches the color of the phone, which is, of course, how it's going to be on the iPhone 16s. But a bigger change here is the action button. As you can see, it is significantly bigger on the new case model. In fact, it seems to be even bigger, slightly, than the action button on the iPhone 15 Pros, which is what one of the leaks was suggesting, that the action button was getting a bit bigger, just because right now it's still quite small and it's not the easiest to use. Although the size increase, if you guys can probably tell, it's not that significant. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna make that much of a difference. Okay, so now that I've covered the colors and also the difference between the two versions of the case models, you're probably wondering what's changing visually compared to the iPhone 15s? Well, if you've been watching the channel for quite some time now, you already probably know, but if you haven't, then here's a quick recap. So the biggest change, aside from the more vibrant colors, is of course the camera module on the back. Now, it's not just, the orientation that's changing, it's also changing from a functional standpoint. In the sense that with this new vertical camera module on the iPhone 16s, we'll be able to capture spatial video for the Apple Vision Pro. For all of you, 10 people that have the Apple Vision Pro, yeah, you'll be able to capture video spatially on the iPhone 16s, which is great. The iPhone 15 Pro was the first one that introduced this. Now, if we take a look at the 15 Pro, you'll see that the main and the ultra-wide cameras are placed in horizontal orientation right next to each other. And essentially, if you want to capture 3D video, that's what you need. You need two cameras that sit very close to each other. Ideally, the same camera sensor and the same lens, ideally. Now, of course, we don't have two main modules on any of the iPhones, but we have a main and an ultra-wide, and the ultra-wide is the closest to the main camera because you can crop in the ultra-wide and get essentially the same image. However, when it comes to the telephoto, you obviously cannot do that. So that's the biggest change, I would say, the vertical cameras, which will enable spatial video on the iPhone 16. Now, the second biggest change is, like I said before, the new action button, which will replace the old mute switch. This is something that we got first with the iPhone 15 Pro, and essentially it's a button that you can customize in almost any way you want. So you can assign the flashlight to it, or any custom control center action, or even a custom app like Spotify. Sorry, I meant to say Apple Music. Now, in addition to that, the third change is, as you can see right here on the other side, we've got whatever this thing is. Well, that thing is actually the capture button. So this is something that I covered in previous videos, and essentially it's a capacitive button that allows you to take photos and videos just like this. You can just hold it like this, press the button, take photos and videos, sort of like what Sony has on their phones. But since this is also going to be a capacitive button, you'll be able to slide your finger up and down to zoom in and out. Personally, I'm absolutely going to love this because right now I've got the action button on my 15 Pro set to launch the camera, and it's just very tiny, not the easiest one to access. But here, you not only have a dedicated camera button, and obviously you can then reassign the action button to whatever other action you want, but you've also got gestures which add additional functionality to it. And speaking of loving things, if you love this gorgeous wallpaper that I've got on the iPhone 15 right here, or on the iMac behind me, this is from our app Wallpapers. It's called the Serene Scenes Pack by our brand new designer, Alisher. There's a link in the description so you guys can check it out, or you can simply look for Wallpapers on iOS and Android. So that's everything that's visually changing with the iPhone 16s. Of course, there are some changes that are under the hood, which are not that visible. I would say the biggest one is probably the Apple A18 chip, which will enable Apple Intelligence on the non-Pro models of the iPhone 16. And that's because Apple Intelligence requires at least 8 GB of memory. The reason why it just doesn't work on the iPhone 15, but it does work on the 15 Pros with the A17 Pro chip, which does have 8 GB of RAM. So Apple Intelligence will be available on every single iPhone 16 model. Wi-Fi 7 is also rumored, so if you've got a Wi-Fi 7 router, you'll get significantly faster speeds. And then larger batteries are also coming, but only on the Pro models and the iPhone 16. So the iPhone 16 is getting a 6% larger battery than the iPhone 15. However, the iPhone 16 Plus is actually shrinking by 9%. Essentially, Apple just wants to push more people towards the Pro Max if they want the best battery life in any iPhone. So there you go, these are all the latest iPhone 16 updates. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of these new colors, and yeah, feel free to subscribe for more iPhone 16 coverage coming very soon. I'm Daniel, ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.